Hello everyone. So we're going to do some IXL today and some introduction to order of operations or Pemdas. So to introduce it, there is a certain order in which you have to do things, both in math class and in everyday life. So this top part is just going to be me introducing it. Okay. So we have list a 5-step process of what you do in the morning to get ready. And I'm going to write on here my computer screen because this is just an introduction. When we get down to the math stuff, I'll go to the separate sheet of paper so you can see how you can do it if you're doing it in your notebook for work, if you're scratching it out. So we got to list a 5-step process of what you do in the morning to get ready. So let's see. Wake up, brush teeth, right? Make my lunch, get dressed, and leave. Mr. Showers at night. So now the next question is, what would happen if you switch those steps around? So what would happen if I woke up and then I left? Well, if I woke up and I left, then I wouldn't have brushed my teeth, so I'd have masked breath. I wouldn't have a lunch, so I'd be really hungry and probably really cranky come period 10 and 11. And I'd go to school in my pajamas. So there has to be a certain order of what you do things. So the order in math class is PEMDAS. So for PEMDAS, P stands for parentheses. Okay, those are these things. E stands for exponents. So an exponent is like that 2 there, x squared, or 5 squared, or 10 to the 5th power. Okay, those are exponents. Multiply or divide. Notice how I'm writing multiply and divide next to each other. MD, because it's multiply or divide left to right. So that doesn't mean that multiplication comes first. It means it doesn't matter which one comes first. You're going to go left to right with multiply and divide. And the same thing with add or subtract. Doesn't mean that adding necessarily comes first. It's add or subtract left to right. So let me show you what I mean by this. And your IXL assignment is going to be grade 7, C24. Evaluate numerical expressions involving integers. I'm not going to write that. It will be typed in the assignment. So up first, we have 7 minus 5 times 4. Okay. 7 minus 5 times 4. Again, this is representing my computer screen, so I'm not going to write on here. So 7 minus 5 times 4. And we have PEMDAS. And if you have to write out the acronym every single time, that's okay. So we have no parentheses, no exponents. Ooh, I have a multiply. I have 5 times 4 is 20. So we have 7 minus 5 times 4 is 20. And that's the way I like to look at it. You can look at it as negative 5 times 4, but I just bring down the sign. Now we have add or subtract. Ooh, I have a subtract here. 7 minus 20, 1 minus sign, subtract like normal. 20 minus 7 is 13, and 20 has a bigger absolute value, so it's negative 13. Okay. Up next, we have 6 minus 9 divided by 3. Okay, same idea. I have to divide first before I subtract. So we have 6 minus 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 6 minus 3 is 3. So there I did not write out the acronym. Okay, so if you need it, write it. If you don't need it, don't write it. Next one, we got 5 minus 6 plus 4. Okay, I'm going to write the acronym for this one so you guys can see. Okay, so now we have no parentheses, no exponents, no multiplication or division, but we have add and subtract. Now, this does not mean we're going to add first necessarily. The subtraction comes before the addition So we are indeed going to subtract before we add. So we have 5 minus 6 is negative 1, plus 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, now if you had added first, you would have gotten 10. 5 minus 10 is negative 5. So as you can see, when you go out of order, okay, so if I did this the wrong way, I would have got 5 minus 10 equals negative 5. Notice how they're different. So we have to go in order in math so that we get consistent answers. All right, up next, 2 plus 5 times 7. All right, I'm going to multiply first. That's 35. 2 plus 35 is 37. 8 divided by 4 times 9. Okay, again, I have multiply and divide, but in this case, division comes first. So we have 2 times 9 is 18. And 4 plus 6 minus 8. Okay, add or subtract, left to right. So in this case, I'm going to add first. 10 minus 8 is 2. Again, because it's add or subtract left to right. Just like you read left to right, we're going to add or subtract left to right. All right, now let's flip both these guys over. We have some more difficult problems. So we have, in this case, we have 4 numbers. So we have 7 times 5 minus 10 divided by 5, which is this one right here. So I'm going to write the acronym here. Pemdas. No parentheses, no exponents. I have a multiplication and I have a division. So I'm going to multiply first because it comes first, not because M is first, but because it's before the division sign. So we have 35 minus 10 divided by 5. Okay, now I have to divide before I add or subtract. So we have 35 minus 2. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And 35 minus 2 is 33. Okay. Up next, we have this one. We have 8 times 10 minus 8 times 3. Okay, 8 times 10 is 80. Minus 8 times 3 is 24. Okay, well, maybe you can't do that in your head. I know, you know. So we can write it vertically. Okay, we're going to have to borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay, now we got some nasty negatives here. So we've got this one right here. We've got negative 6 plus negative 1 minus 5 times negative 7. Oh boy. Oh boy. So here, again, what I like to do is you have this multiplication symbol here. So I'm going to drop everything down in front of the 5. So I'm going to drop down because we have multiplication before we add or subtract. So this multiply is going to be the first thing that we do. So you have negative 6 plus negative 1 minus 5 times negative 7 is a negative 35. Right, now I have all minuses and pluses, so I can add or subtract left to right. And I know this double minus sign turns into a positive. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So we have 6 plus negative 1 plus 35. Negative 6 plus negative 1. We're adding 2 negatives, so it'll be a bigger negative. Negative 7 plus 35, and that's normal subtraction. 35 minus 7 is a positive 28. Now we got 2 more here. All right, we got our first set of parentheses. So we have negative 8 plus negative 3 plus 5 divided by negative 1. Okay, I'm going to work inside parentheses first. So we have parentheses, right? PEMDAS. Ooh, I have parentheses. And I'm going to follow order of operations inside parentheses. So it's all minus or plus, so I can go left to right. So we have negative 8 plus negative 3. which is negative 11. 5 drops down with it, divided by negative 1. I still have parentheses here. Negative 11 plus 5 is really 11 minus 5. Our answer is negative because 11 is bigger. So it's going to be negative 6. And now that I'm down to one number, the parentheses go away. So we have negative 6 divided by negative 1, which is a positive 6. And finally, we have negative 16 plus negative 14 times 1 minus 13. Oops, you can't see that. I just copied that from there. So I have multiplication in here. Times 1. Oops, I'm sorry. Should be a 1 there. Okay, so we have negative 16 plus negative 14 times 1 minus 13. So I'm going to multiply first. So negative 16 plus drops down. Negative 14 times 1 is negative 14 minus 13. I'm going to add two negatives here. So it'll be a bigger negative. So it'll be negative 30 minus 13. And again, I have two negatives, bigger negative, negative 43, because those minus signs are not next to each other. So these ones are the ones you're going to see when you get higher up, like, 85 and then the 90s. And then these ones are more like, maybe 60s or 70s. And then up through 50 is mostly these ones with 3 numbers in them.